Today I learned that JP Morgan analysts thinks that Bitcoin might outperform gold this year, and this is very interesting. So if you want to learn with me, then keep on watching. Yeah, I just first of all, I want to start doing these like mini series of stuff that I learn about finance and the financial world around it. I want to post more. I want to share more as I learn, kind of like share the journey, fail publicly, as they say. So this is what this video is about. And today I wanted to share this article that I read from Decrypt. Which is quite interesting and made me reflect a lot. And the main argument for these, JP Morgan guys, was, they were saying that Bitcoin has more upside than gold, and of course, I mean that's while considering that gold has been the go-to safe haven for like literally centuries. And their main argument was that there's crypto specific catalysts that gold just doesn't have. So for example, the rapid growth of the crypto derivatives market, more institutional adoption, for example, and also some changes in legislation that allow some of the states, for example, in the US, to invest directly in crypto and things like these, and incoming new ETFs, for example, on Ethereum. Um, yeah, there's basically a lot of like development, and so what they're trying to say, I guess, from my understanding, is gold is like solid, but Bitcoin has a lot of momentum that some other asset classes and gold specifically doesn't have. And I guess, if we zoom into some of the drivers, my main takeaways is there's, again, this institutional appetite, which is back. So guys like, asset managers, hedge funds, corporate treasuries also, they're allocating more to Bitcoin than they maybe have before. The Bitcoin ETFs are booming. So we talked about potentially there's going to be like a new Ethereum ETF as of May. There have been more and more inflows into Bitcoin ETFs that have also outpaced gold ETFs. So that's a major signal, of course, of growth and trust from investors. And there's also something that I didn't know, which is that companies like Coinbase, Kraken, so your crypto exchanges, they've made big moves to expand into crypto derivatives as well, like options and futures. Now, I don't know much about derivatives, to be honest. I'll be very transparent, and they sound pretty scary. Yeah, still trying to understand how it all works, but essentially, from my understanding, they let big players like manage risk and exposure in more like sophisticated, nuanced, and of course risky ways as well. So JP Morgan, I guess, is saying that this maturing of the market could attract even more traditional capital flowing in, and of course raising the price of crypto and the value of Bitcoin, etc. And now, of course, there's a twist, because some people still talk about Bitcoin as digital gold, and I myself also have kind of like always thought about it as digital gold. JP Morgan is not quite of that line, let's say, and they're actually saying that Bitcoin behaves more like a risk on asset, so meaning that it moves more with the stock market rather than like against it, not acting like an edge or a safe haven in the way that gold traditionally has, but it is delivering performance. So that's what's catching the investors attention and eyes right now. It's kind of like this dichotomy between the two, and of course, so that also means higher volatility, as we all very well know by now. I mean, we went from 106k to 102 in a day, so yeah, very much roller coaster vibes. But it seems like this counter movement or counter direction that it has, as opposed to gold, is what they see as like the biggest upside potentially to Bitcoin. So what do I think? After having kind of like wrapped my head around it, and I'll share the article below, by the way. It's interesting to watch this shift. I mean, as you'll know, I've just re-entered the crypto market, and Bitcoin is going to be 40% of my portfolio. So I'm very excited to hear, and their understanding of the asset is very optimistic, and especially when it comes to the long-term horizon. I've always thought of gold as like a boring but stable, asset class, and Bitcoin like an exciting but very much, chaotic, speculative almost type of assets. But it's clear that now institutions are, taking Bitcoin more and more seriously, and not just as a speculative bet, but as a, legitimate asset class these days. Also, especially the fact that gives me confidence is how companies are buying derivatives exchanges and getting licensed in the EU. That's really not, retail hype. That seems like a long term kind of move. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. At the same time, this doesn't mean that I'm throwing away all my S&P 500, ETFs and all my other traditional stocks into Bitcoin. As you know, that's still going to be like a roughly a 10% of my overall allocations. And for me, it's more like a reminder to, keep informing myself. This is a super exciting asset class and a moment in history really that we're living through. And I'll definitely continue, DCAing my way through that asset class. Um, and and yeah, I hope that, you guys do too. Again, not financial advice, but it's my goal is to share as much as I can, basically, as I'm learning. And yeah, let me know what you think. Like, do you think Bitcoin is new gold? I don't know. Do you think we're getting ahead of ourselves here? And yeah, hopefully you enjoy this like short but sweet learning spotlight. I'll keep doing these, very, informal way. Like today, I'm literally in like my dad's sweater, and yeah, sitting down 10 minutes to record this. But hopefully you enjoy this, and I will share more in the upcoming days. Bye.